this morning. It is a Thursday, and I'm very excited to welcome you to the new month. Happy new month. It's the 1st of December, and of course, we are making progress. 2023 is just around the corner. How ready are you? And what new resolutions do you have this time round? And which resolutions are you working on, at least to see that you achieve before we wind up the year in just a couple of days? My name is Anthony, and this is your number one market show. Here we analyze not Nakasero market, not Owino market, but we do look at the financial markets and provide you with first-hand information. And this is concerning especially the stock markets, the bond market, and other financial market segment where necessary. Now, the show is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. If you are a viewer of this show and you haven't checked out Altex East Africa, you should have done that actually yesterday. Now, Altex East Africa is a private stock exchange, just like the way we have the Uganda Securities Exchange, but this is a private stock exchange. Altex is very well known in South Africa, where it did begin and has its roots in South Africa. But we do have Altex East Africa, and now here in Uganda, Altex Uganda together with Altex East Africa are bringing you a new initiative known as Zabu. In this initiative, they have partnered with MTN Momo, and they can be able now to give you access to the bond market via your phone. Now, this is very, very simple. And if you are out there, you have mobile money, and you're wondering how you can increase the value of that money, no worries. Altex now is giving you an opportunity to make investments in treasury bonds across East Africa. Treasury bonds are transferable loans or debts, and these are monies lent to governments around the world. And now here in Uganda, we do have a Bank of Uganda, which mediates between the government and the public. And of course, if you are looking at lending government, there must be an interest. And Altex East Africa deals mainly in the secondary market. And so if you are looking at buying these instruments on the secondary market, they offer you the best of services at the best interest rates. Altex markets open at exactly 15 minutes past 8 a.m. and close at 15 past 3 p.m. Remember, you can take part in this market by your USSD code *292#, where you can be able to register and get your journey of investment started. Altex East Africa doing something new. Now let's get into the market's performance here, and we'll start with the Uganda Stock Exchange. Of course, east or west, home is the best, and that's where we usually want to kick it off. Now, on the exchange, we do have 18 companies, and amongst these, in the third day of trading, this was as per yesterday's markets, as per yesterday's trading, which starts at 9 a.m. and closes at 1 p.m. East African Standard Time. Now, in aggregate, we had 3 participants in the markets, a little lower than the Tuesday numbers. We had about 4 companies on Tuesday, and this time around we had just 3 companies participating in the trades. Now, the day ended very fortunately with 5 gainers, and there was only just 1 loser on the market. The top gainers were led this time by Equity Bank Limited, which is the most valuable company on the exchange via market capitalization. Now, Equity Bank Limited appreciated by close to a 2.78% figure, closing at exactly 1,433.38 rather. Remember, Equity Bank Limited hasn't been that active on the market, but of course, in terms of regaining strength, it's one of those companies that are being looked at the moment, especially on the cross-listing list here at the Uganda Stock Exchange. Nation Media Group also appreciated by a 2.75% margin and closed at exactly 500.69 shillings. Well, yes, Nation Media Group is back to 500 shillings. Remember, it has been staggering between about 4,000 and 500 for quite some time. But now, in yesterday's trading, concluding the day, the company was able to cross the 500 shillings mark on its stock price, ending the day with exactly 500.69 Ugandan shillings per share. Now, the other gainer was Jubilee Holdings, also trying to redeem its stock as we start a new month. And the company gained about 1.46% on its stock price, closing the day with exactly 6,106.0 Ugandan shillings. Centum Investments also this time led the gainers at a 0.94% and appreciated to exactly 243.63 Ugandan shillings mark. East African Breweries Limited was another gainer who gained about 0.54% and closed at exactly 75.61 Ugandan shillings. Remember, East African Breweries this year is celebrating 100 years. And this was, of course, after it got started in 1922 and now has over 100% stake in the Kenya breweries and about 92% on Uganda Breweries Limited and close to 83% of Kibo Breweries in Tanzania. So it's a well-established company and with a wide experience in brewing, beer and other drinks, and definitely kind of doing much better here in the third day of trading at the Uganda Stock Exchange. Those were the top gainers. Unfortunately, we did not have any domestic company come on this list, but we did have mainly all these cross listings actually take part in the gaining. Now, on the losing side, we had only one company, and this was Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways has had some problems recently, and these have affected its stock, not only here on the Uganda Stock Exchange, but also on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. There were quite a number of flights cancelled on this event about exactly 2 weeks ago, and this was following pilots going on strike over payments or salary increment, and the company still struggles with a huge debt, and the government kind of trying to bail it out in a couple of times. But also the company is making strides in order to overcome some of its current challenges, and this was including a partnership which they actually had to make with South African Airways, and they're looking forward to making more partnerships with other airlines so they can be able to sustain the company within such an economy where many airlines in Africa are struggling, except for a few, of course. And so here at the Uganda Stock Exchange on the third day of trade, fell by 0. MTN Uganda led these movers at a volume of 904,850 traded shares on the third day of trading. It was followed by Stanbic Bank Uganda, who had about 202,700 shares that were traded on the third day of trading. Umeme also this time round had some participation in the market at exactly 19,300 shares that were recorded. These are the common faces on the movement side, and you're looking at MTN Uganda, which also has been participating in the trades, I think, since last week consecutively. Stanbic Index, which tracks the aggregate performance of all the 18 listed equities on the Uganda Stock Exchange, moved upwards by about 11 points. This is a huge move, and I want you to really not take this move for granted. And you're looking at exactly 11.04 points, and this was a 0.91% gain on the all-share index. The index closed at exactly 1,228 points, in the third day's tradings. Now we are calculating in terms of 1 week a gain of about 0.93%. Yes, the index is returning to better performance here as we start the new month on a positive note, 0.93%. But in the 4 weeks, we are calculating a loss of about 1.55%, which is a slight disappointment from the month of November. Meaning, when you count from the 1st of November to the 29th to the 30th rather of November, which was the last day of trading, the index has just lost about 1.55%. Now, the overall year-to-date has also gone down a little bit to 13.56% here from about 14% yesterday. Now, the USE Local Company Index, which on the other hand tracks the aggregate performance for the local or domestic stocks, maintained its value at exactly 268.60 points, making it a 1 week loss of about 0.26%, and in 4 weeks we lost 0.22%, and the year-to-date loss is currently at 17.27%. That's generally speaking about the local company index at the Uganda Securities Exchange. But rather, of course, this is a festive season, and many people are looking at buying stocks, at least for the year, as the year gets wound up. And of course, we get into a new year, new season. You want to enter a new year differently. Which stocks are you changing? And this is still coming down to you as an investor. Have you changed your tastes and preferences? Are you looking at a specific sector that you're hoping will probably go out of the roof come 2023? Which sectors do you think are going to make it? Which sectors are going to stay the same? Which sectors are going to decline? Remember, now we are coming from the COVID-19 pandemic recovery period now into the economic recovery, because the economy this year has been so much bombarded by so many different challenges. Looking at the supply chain disruptions, of course, those had to distort the supply chains, especially due to the Russia-Ukrainian war. You're looking at also where people are getting credit. So how is that going to affect the performance of these financial institutions? And that's a question you must answer as an investor as we get into the new year. Which sectors do you think are going to actually make sense on the stock exchange? Not only here in Uganda, worldwide perspective. You're looking at the regional perspective, which stocks could be much more profitable than others. Now, looking at our summary for the third day of trading at the Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember, we have 5 days, and now we just gone 3 days. This is the 4th day. At the end of the day's trading session at the Uganda Stock Exchange, we have 126 million shares. Excuse me, 1.126 million shares that were traded, corresponding to a market value of 171 million Ugandan shillings on the market. This is the total turnover on the market. Now, compared with the previous USE trading day, this data shows a very slight improvement in the volumes, about 69%, and a 43% improvement in the turnover. So generally in the volumes and the turnover, we've had an improvement on this third day. And also the market capitalization actually went up a little bit from 21.0 trillion to 21.2 trillion. That's over 2 billion gain there in the 200 billion rather gain in the market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange. Stanbic Bank is still on top of its game, being still the most traded on in the last 3 months. Close competitor currently is Wumeme. Wumeme though beats the bank and all the other stocks via turnover for all the 3 quarters of the year 2022 so far, and even indeed continues to beat all the other stocks via turnover. And then when you look at the participation in the market, Stanbic is coming in the first place in terms of the volumes, and in the second place Wumeme, and in the third place we do have MTN Uganda, and in the fourth place we do have Bank of Baroda, and the rest do follow. Remember, of course, I don't talk about other companies because they didn't have participation, but we do have other companies that are listed on the stock exchange. And we do have, for example, Cipla Quality Chemical Industries as the only pharmaceutical company, and currently holding about 60.0 Ugandan shillings per share. And then you have Centum Investments at exactly 243 shillings, and the East African Breweries, as I mentioned, at 5,000. Whereas when you look at Kenya Airways at 116 Ugandan shillings, and MTN Uganda 180, National Insurance Corporation at a 5.10 Ugandan shillings, and New Vision Printing and Publishing Company as well. Quite a number of them, and you should be able to at least get 2 or 3 or 5 companies at least before the year ends, so you can be able to walk away with some gain on your savings, or a better portfolio for the year 2023. We are going to take a very quick breather, and we want to return with other parts of Africa, and we'll start from Johannesburg and get to see something on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. The market moved in the bullish no other day, and there was the biggest company there on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange moving the markets like crazy, and this is a health company that I want you to know about in South Africa, and definitely providing big gains there on the market. They had over 300 participants in the markets at Johannesburg, and their index went up over 1,000 points. What a movement for Johannesburg Stock Exchanges. Who are the top players, and what are the companies you can look out for in South Africa if you're looking at trading in that region? All that and more coming up after a very short commercial break. We will also be getting into Nairobi a couple of days and weeks, and the companies have also been laying off huge numbers of employees on the companies. Why is this happening, and what are the opportunities that can be traced? We return with that and more after this very short break. My name is Anthony. Stay with us.